is that thin line, of trying to believe what is happening with, the feminists, and also not going to the extreme to just destroy people's lives and all.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that's the way, I would look at
again with your false sense of fear. May I remind you that I don't need an hour to tell you why women should have equal rights to vote. I don't need an hour to tell you why women should be investigated. Hello? I know this lady from Lion Kuti had to fight. So please, let's not think as if they just gave us the platter of, we were given the right to vote on a platter of gold. Okay, we had to fight for it. What I'm just trying to tell you is that I don't need to sit down to have a full-on dialogue with you, to sit down and arrange my words for me to let you know how important it is for sexual harassment to be stopped, for men to know how to caution their mouths. Do you understand? For men not to I don't understand.
No one
it's
not
confusing.
The point,
I get what you're saying. All right. But what I'm trying to tell you is that we should not even be having these conversations. Men should know better.
Yeah, welcome to our playpen, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Front Tucker Junction, and I'm your host for today, Resh, and then we have the regular guy on set as well, L.A. What's popping?
That's what's up. What do you do, people?
Yeah.
How you guys doing? Staying jiggy, I hope. If you're not, stay cheesed up.
Yeah, you're welcome. And of course, we have the delectable creative. I have a lot of title for her, but she's still kicking it up with us today on the set. Anna like.
Peace out.
Hi.
Lady in blue.
Hello. I'm good.
Yeah, let's get to it. There's a lot that's happening in Nigeria as usual. And we're going to talk about this particular nagging issue that's happened in the Senate, Nigerian Senate.
Yeah.
Natasha Uduaghan on suspension. Some weeks back, I saw a normal YouTube, normal X video and all posted, and the lady was kind of like, no. And I was like, what's going on? So I checked the video. I think it was a plenary session that they were having on the Senate floor. And she was kind of like agitating and trying to make a point and all. And I saw some men surround her and all. Apparently, they said they've been going back and forth, in the Senate. And I think after that, she was calmed and all. But that was sometime in February, but on March 6th of March, it was escalated and she was suspended for, I think, unruly conduct and, whatever the case is, of which she had already also accused the Senate president, that's Akpabio, of sexual, harassment and all that. I think it was on that premise that she was suspended, actually.
But not officially.
Not officially.
Yeah, officially she was suspended because of the brouhaha of the sitting arrangement.
Yeah, and all. So she was. She accused the Senate president of. So the question is, what do you guys think of what's going on in the Senate? Overall, what do you think? What do you think is going on in the Senate?
Yeah, I know that this is an area that's Hannalyka is passionate at, so I will eventually yield the floor to her to give us some very deep thoughts. For me, very high level, right? My feelings when I heard that, or when I saw the news about suspension, was that of shock and apprehension. Because let's face the facts, both parties here have erred, right? The senator, in terms of how she's gone about, in expressing her grievances, Some people said she had filed a notice in court. The issue of the sexual harassment formed the basis of the complaint in court. And then at the same time, she went to, I think it was Arise Television, and started speaking on the matter, which you don't do, really, because once the matter is already in the court, you are not supposed to speak about it, I think, ideally, right? And then beyond that, she filed a petition to the Senate. And then her colleagues in the Senate flagged that she had done that in contravention with the Senate rulebook, because she signed the petition herself, right? And according to the Senate rulebook, you are not supposed to, a senator shouldn't sign or be the countersigner to the petition that he himself authors. So I guess she was meant to get someone else to sign that petition. On the basis of that, her petition was thrown out by the ethics committee, and someone in the House, I don't know who it was, raised a motion for her to be suspended for 6 months, and her security details withdrawn from her. I felt, and then before we knew it, the motion was passed and she was suspended. I felt like it looked like a bit of when you use the hammer to try to kill a fly or a mosquito, right? Somebody has brought forward a serious concern, and make no mistake, this is a very sensitive issue. Sexual harassment in the Hallyu chambers between very senior government officials should not be something that you take lightly. I would have thought that would have taken the whole issue of technicalities aside, whether she signed a petition, she's not supposed to sign a petition, blah, blah, blah. That shouldn't be the substantive issue. I would have thought that this accusation would have been thoroughly looked at, impartially investigated, and a more robust and sensible judgment made. But the entire matter has been killed. In fact, I recall a video where the ethics committee chairman said the matter is dead on arrival. Right? It looked like an act of silencing and bullying to me. And she's gone all the way to international quarters now to also continue to relay her concerns. So I don't know how this will fall out or how this will end. But the feelings that it gave me was that in a time when we are clamoring for, diversity, inclusion, gender equality, and giving people the right to, speak up, especially when they feel like they've been wronged, our national chambers has not shown good example in the way it's handled it. And it's given some of us who are just simple Nigerians, members of the masses, cause for concern that the people that with all power can use it in this kind of way with what I call, I dare say, impunity. Then what is the fate of the common man like us?
Yeah, interesting. Like her.
Wow. I mean, nicely said. When I saw what happened, and it's continuously happening so far, it just brought in so much anger. Like, I felt very angered because it shows how far behind we still are in this thing we call civilization. We are so far behind, and it is scary. It's scary to see, because we have a situation where a lady who has taken to, like, she's a senator, right? She's someone who has some sort of political power, and we have a Senate House that merely represents women to start with, despite an affirmative action stating that we're supposed to have at least 35% representation of women in politics. You barely have just 4 out of probably 109, and every one of them has faced some sort of discrimination, whether they like it or not, whether they want to speak up or not, right? And one is complaining about it. Yeah, as you mentioned, the situation that caught so much light was the matter of changing seats, right, of the Senate. But one thing I just want to say is that if someone makes claim that a person is being harassed sexually, and the person is then being bullied. It might seem out of touch for someone the way she reacted. If you don't know what was going on, you might say, okay, it's just a change of seats, which is what a lot of people are saying online. It's just a change of seats. She disobeyed the rules and all of that. But if I said the change of seats is based on a certain harassment, bullying, and whatever history, then it's different. Do you understand? Especially the fact they didn't even do the right protocol. They didn't inform her prior to the whole incident. And she has been shown so much in the house. And then she, of course, had to lash out. Now, some people might not agree on her lashing out, right? But everyone knows she's a fighter. She has always been a fighter throughout, right? And then the matter of her coming to the media. Yeah, I heard some people say she maybe should have brought it up in the house. She came up to the media out of frustration. Again, I do not believe the people around her are supporting her in any way, including the women. I'm appalled by the women in the house. Senator Ireti and the other former senators that are coming out and saying so many things. I'm appalled by the things that they are saying. Right? So even her people are not supporting her. And she has been a voice to support even the so-called Senator Ireti, which was even where most of these things, when the last time she came online, which was a matter of Akpabio saying something wrong to her in the Senate House about this is not a nightclub, blah, blah, blah. He said that when she stood up to defend that same senator. Right? And then he made a comment. And he made a comment, that's an unruly comment to make in the first place. Right? He had to come in to apologize. And it had his own notion to it. There are so many underlying tones to it. But you have a lady who is powerful, who is beautiful, who is a senator, who can't pass a bill until she has to speak to her husband to speak to the Senate president to please aid me. Right? It is I'm sorry. Like I think there's so many things. And then I think you brought up this thing that you said that she had taken it to court. Apparently, what I heard is that she hasn't taken the sexual harassment case to court. What she took to court was the matter of her being cyberbullied by the aides in the house. Right? So it's not even, so when they keep saying the matter is in the court, it's not actually in the court. The sexual harassment case is not actually in the court. Yeah. So they have still not done the needful. And then someone is being, first of all, this is even Women's Month. Days to International Women's Day. And I hear she's been suspended. Now, how you would know that it is still bullying at its best? If anyone was going to tell me she was suspended based on her behavior as regards the whole, what's it called? Reassignment of her seats. We are all trying to lie here. We are all trying to lie to ourselves. Yeah. That is definitely not it. It wasn't that caused her to be stripped of her security, to be suspended for 6 months, not to be able to approach the house, not to be able to call herself a senator. That is total bullying. Yeah. And whatever it is, the head of ethics committee that already showed their bias. At this point in time, we're in a society where they don't even want to even save face to say, oh, you know what? We have women's this thing at best. We think, you know, even though they want to cajole you, they are not even trying to do that. They're telling you, yes, like you're bringing this case. We're telling you we are not taking it seriously. Or she was suspended without salary, right? Yes, that as well. Yeah. So it's like you're saying that you don't want to investigate the matter. You don't even think the matter is worthy to be investigated. Or some people making statements like, as you are in the Senate House, this is a woman. As you're in the Senate House, you are above being harassed. So I'm sorry. Do we throw away our womanhood before we enter the Senate? The one that busts my head are people that are saying she's speaking up and she's making it hard for other women to be appointed into political powers. And I'm asking myself, so what are you expecting us to do? Cower down and then accept scraps because we want to sit at the table, not necessarily sit at the table, but just be around the table. That is just bullshit to me. If you cannot, I believe that she owes people, at this point, if any woman is not here speaking on that matter or supporting that woman we are taking ourselves behind years, we are going years back, right? And so many people, so many women have sacrificed fighting for our rights to even vote, to do so many things that we are doing currently, and we are not even where we should be yet. And still, the patriarchy is showing. You are seeing the brazenness to which they believe sexual harassment is not a thing, which it should be. In this case where someone has raised such an alarming accusation, if the Senate president was actually a man with integrity, what he should be doing is to say, okay, I'm stepping down while you investigate the matter. But unfortunately for him, I don't think that is the case. And to me, it might seem funny to be like, I know some people are making claims that she doesn't have evidence, blah, blah, blah. One thing I know for a fact, statistics is on my side. I don't even need to care whether or not I want to. Statistics is on my side. The false claims are so minimal. So statistics is on my side. If a woman comes up today and says she's been sexually harassed, I'm behind her. 100%. And it's so sad.
What does that mean?
Rate of sexual harassment, false claims are less than 5%. So that said, statistics on my side. And to see a woman in power facing such a thing, what are we to expect from we the masses that don't even have that power?
So, there is still so much for us to discuss. I mean, so I don't want us to cheat some of the questions that we're also going to answer here. So I'm going to come back to to you on some of the follow-ups that we're going to talk about. But for me, I feel like excuse me, before I follow up with the question, I feel like there is so much irresponsibility in the Senate, and I mean, whenever I hear that name Akpabio, I can promise you, I just don't. There is something that I don't feel like. I mean, that man is so irresponsible. He's what's it called? He's the fat version of Wike. It's very irresponsible, very crass, And for me, I feel like he was just flexing muscle where, I mean, there needn't, be, where there shouldn't be any muscle flexing and all. And I feel like they did that woman dirty. They did her dirty. Number one, she's elected into that position. I wonder why you are going to be suspending somebody elected to represent our constituents, the Kogi constituent and all. I don't know. Seriously, there is so much nonsense that we do in this part of the world that I cannot even come to comprehend.
Yeah.
I can't come to comprehend. But for me, we're going to follow up with this question. Do you think that Nigeria, do you think we are doing enough, to curb excesses? I mean, the excessiveness of patriarchy.
A big fat no.
World? Do you think we are doing enough?
It's a big fat no. We are so behind. That it's infuriating. And I know some of us are just going about our day trying to believe that we have some sort of rights. But when push comes to shove, you're going to see in reality, the patriarchy shows and it's glaring. We are not doing anything. Even when we make, there was an act, the Violence Against Persons Act, that was supposed to actually help with violence against women. Was it not one senator that was saying they should repeal the act? Even though they are not even doing anything with the act, someone still feels they should repeal it. Right? Is it the affirmative action we are talking about? Representation of women in politics is negligible. In short, for a woman to get to that position, she has to do double, if not triple, the effort it takes for a man to be there. Right? Look at Senator Natasha, for instance. She fought. She literally fought to get that position. She had to go to court to take back, even though you said they voted for her, to take it back, to take that win, to become that senator for the Kogi constituency. So Nigeria is just behind. It's just behind. Education, nah. A lot of people, if you bring it down to our current day-to-day, so many people, especially men, don't know there are certain things they have no right saying. They think they can open their mouth and say some sort of rubbish things. And you're like, why? Why don't... And if you point it out, they'll be like, what are you saying? I'm allowed to say this. Which constitutes sexual harassment. There is... Education around it is nil. Women are not... Even the women's societies that are, you know, trying to do one or two things, they are somewhat inefficient, unfortunately. Right? People, we are so behind. I am sorry, we are so behind. Even now that United Nations is even supposed to assist. United Nations has its this thing that they aid. As Natasha went to UN, they already shouting at her that she's opening Niyash of Nigerian Senate, blah, 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 blah. Whereas everybody is just saying, aren't you the one that is shaming yourself? If I go and report your bad act to international body because we are... That's to understand how failing the Nigerian system is. That you need international intervention. Do you get? So we are not doing anything. I'm sorry. Whatever we've tried to do to somewhat save face is barely working. It is so annoying. Nigeria is stuck in the 1990s, in short, the 1920s. Right now, when it comes to rights and stuff. I'm serious.
I don't know if it's as bad as that.
It
right?
is.
So I'll say that we are not there yet. But I think that there are some progress being made. Maybe not fast enough. And I look at it from two dimensions, right? There's a public sector side and the private sector side. I know that on the private sector side, where we have private companies, they've done quite a lot, right, to promote that equality sense, DEI thing, so that I wouldn't call it DEI, it's just that support system.
No, it is DEI actually.
Yeah, that support system that allows women to feel like they belong. Yeah. And allows women to feel like they can achieve great things based on merit. And protects them from feeling like they are subject of discrimination. Right? And I'll be honest with you, at some point I even feel like some of the private sector companies are doing too much. Where it now seems like because they want to appear, you know, DI conscious, they are now overextending so much grace to the women. And that's fine, I'm not complaining.
That's so not true. That is so not true. Let
me land now.
That's a blatant
That's fine,
lie.
I'm not complaining, right? I think that it's a good thing to do, right? It's a welcome development.
But
that's on one side.
Yeah, but that is also you are going to continue. I want to follow up. But that's also the that's where it's a bit we have to be careful too, because we have one extreme now that we're trying to address. Now, when this stuff now gets like, okay, you're talking about the private sector, like, you know, pushing, now feeling like, okay, they are even doing too much.
Yeah.
Now, where's the balance?
That's the risk. I agree with you.
Excuse one civil play.
No,
please,
that can
name
be
a company.
potential
Sorry,
risk.
name a company. Name a company, because I feel like I'm hearing.
Don't forget that we gave you
the
ample time.
It doesn't matter, but name a company, because you're about to throw in some false fallacies here. There is nothing called too much.
If you allow me land, you will realize whether it's fallacy or not. So, like I was saying, on the private sector side, it looks that way.
Yeah.
In the public sector side, it doesn't look that much the same, right? In fact, it looks like we have men we have parties who are determined to maintain that stronghold, right? But again, when you talk about public sector, and it's a great area, there's a part of public sector that's, you know, civil service, right? And you get roles by appointment and employment. And there's part of public sector that is by election. Like the Senate, for example, there's no amount of affirmative action you want to use. You cannot appoint somebody to be a senator. Is who the people, the constituents vote for.
So it's not like as if they just wake up and vote for someone. There's someone that will be there that they need to vote for, right?
Yeah.
So
And
how
so
do
it's
you get
about
those
winning
people
the
there?
tickets,
Exactly.
right?
But-
So that's what I'm saying,
It's
that
a
women
level
have to do a
playing
lot
field.
for
It's a-
them
it's a
to
level
know.
playing field when it
No,
comes to
that's not
contesting
true.
for
Don't also
primary
forget that.
tickets.
That's
It's
not true.
politics.
That's not true.
Let's
Are you
not-
willing to play the politics?
It is not
If you
level-
yeah,
it
what
is
you are
not
saying is
level.
they should just hand over tickets to you because you're a
No,
woman.
that's not what I'm saying.
politics.
That is not what I'm saying.
That is
But
do or
people
die in
that are
Nigeria.
supposed to do that are men, and they do not.
Alright,
They do not accept
So I don't want to go into
for
that
women
line
to
too
be in
much,
those
right?
positions.
I don't go too much that line.
So
but
why
my-
would they
but
even
my
want you
point
to
remains
be
that
eligible for such
I
tickets?
don't think that it's completely zero, right? And if you want to be fair, I would say that in some areas, the progress is there, right? In terms of norming down on that patriarchal kind of, and I also say that there are some things that doesn't make it easy for us to achieve. Number one is our culture, and number two is our religion. Culture. Certain places in Nigeria today have this culture that promotes patriarchy. I won't mention names, but you know what I'm talking about. Some cultures, women are still not allowed to sit in the council of men during meetings. Women are not allowed to even open their mouths when men are talking in meetings. They will tell you that the place of a woman is in the kitchen. There are some cultures that still promote things like that.
Your president, the past president, he said it on world stage.
Yeah. He said
That
his
is why
wife
she go
plays
back
in
to
the
the
other
kitchen.
room. The other room. Not in the kitchen, other room. You know. So we have religions. There's some religions too that allows a man to just like dominate the wife, right? Yeah, the wife that doesn't have a say. It's just a man. His head through and through. So those are some of the things that I think in society are still making it difficult for us to manage the patriarchal thing. But I'll still go back to the statement I made, Resh, which is where you pointed out the potential for extremes, right? And it is real. The potential for extremes is real. I'll give you an example. The United States of America is a good example of how the push for DEI or, gender equality has gone to an extent where it now seems like women are endangered species. They are protected species. If a woman coughs, before you know it, the police has arrested you, they've seized the house, you have lost it, you've lost your job,
Exactly.
they kicked you out.
Exactly.
Before they even investigate who is right or wrong,
Exactly.
right? You've lost everything already first.
Yeah.
Right? And,
Is it the
and
same
that's an
America?
example. That's an
The
example.
same America, women are still fighting for their rights. Is it the same America? I'm confused where you are getting all this DEI.
America, UK.
You just mentioned DEI,
West- the
and then
West.
you now mentioned domestic violence.
Okay, let me say
Which is
America.
it?
America is even though I stand by say America, UK is another example. UK is even worse.
Yeah.
Do you understand? America is the same way, but UK is even worse. Do you understand? In the United Kingdom,
I mean, but you saw
You
you
can't
saw a
survive.
Again,
video-
you mentioned
saw a
DEI,
video of a
then you
lady-
mentioned
no,
violence.
You saw a video of a lady that
Domestic
was,
violence. What is your point exactly?
No, but
You are
let's-
stating that women there is extreme. I have not seen
I
a
said
society
there's
that there is an
potential
extreme
for
or even a
extreme.
potential
so
for
let
the
me-
extreme.
Okay,
There
now let me-
Because
let me give a follow-up
There
question.
is
Let me give a
now.
follow-up
where is the
in the
extreme?
United Kingdom, if a woman picks up a call and just tells the police, "My wife beats
Guys,
me,"
let
my
me
husband
give
beats me.
let me give a follow-up
Even if
question.
it's true or not, as the police is arriving, the husband is first leaving the house.
Exactly. That was what I was
Standard.
That is the standard.
That's
Even
what
if,
was
even
going.
if it's
It's
the other
not
way
true, it's
around,
not
I'm
true.
sorry.
It's
Even
You are
if it's the
first
other way
leaving.
around, even if it is the other way around, whether it's a woman, in case of you are talking about protocols that are in place for domestic violence cases, the first thing is to separate both parties. That's simple.
What
So
both
that does
parties?
not.
So you have seen where
your-
where a man called police
Yes.
for his wife,
Yes.
and the police
Yes.
arrested the wife.
Yes.
Let me
Yes.
Okay, show me.
let me
I like
follow
Yes.
it. I like
Let
to
me
see.
follow
Sweetheart,
up with this.
yes.
Let me
haven't
follow
seen.
up with this question. Let me
I
follow up
haven't
with
seen.
this question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that the feminists, do you think they are misrepresenting their cause with their excessiveness? Because sometimes when people want to also listen to your plea and your agitation
Yeah.
stuff that you feel you are being slighted and stuff and all,
Yeah.
there's also a way that you present your case
Absolutely.
that will make people to say, okay, let's listen to what this person is saying and all. But there's also a way that you present your case. They will say, I beg, go sit down. Who do you think you are talking to and all? Do you get? So for me, I feel like, what's the balance there now? What's the balance?
We try diplomacy. You people don't hear a word. Do you understand? You are telling me you want dialogue. The dialogue is not effective. Nothing, no right that a woman has been through normal dialogue. Let me arrange my words for you to understand. bear in mind, men know what it is that you want. It's not like as if they need to understand why you need the right to be represented, or they need to understand why you need the right to be able to speak in a particular settings. They don't. So you are trying to tell me to find a way to convince men to stop being like, it doesn't make any sense. Do you understand? There is no way else to present this matter than to fight for whatever you need.
Well.
I would say that even the feminism movement in Nigeria is still very dominant. Do you understand?
Dominant.
Yeah, dormant, sorry. It's still very dormant because you are in the society, even in the women's society, we still have to fight the cultural and religious programming that the women before our time had. We still need to fight those ones, because that is why some people are making statements like, why are you in a position to even get yourself sexually harassed? Or someone asking questions like, no, women can no longer be harassed once they have power or once they're in politics. Those are bullshit. Do you understand? Those are scraps. Those are rubbish. And we see a lot of these women come up and start claiming, you know, when you look at a certain age, as the generation goes, the lesser you go, the more wiser some of the generations have gotten. So some of them are used to, they feel like it's a badge of honor to even be sexually harassed. It's part of what we need to put up with. So we need to deprogram some certain people. And unfortunately, it's our older generation. So I would say the feminism movement in Nigeria is still very dominant. Dormant. There are some women that are silent about it. Those ones is a different case. But you know, the ones I hate are the ones that are thinking that they are trying to play some sort of, men's game in a game that is already cheated against you, that you cannot win. If you think that all you just need to do is act nicer, act in a certain way to, as you call it, present my matter in a nicer way to play the politics. Let me tell you, the game is rigged. There's nothing that needs to be played. If you don't speak out on the matter, whatever you are saying right now keeps on getting normalized. Nothing changes. All I'm going to say is the feminism movement in Nigeria is not at all as you're saying it. We are not doing much. We are not doing much at all.
What's your take, Ellie?
Yeah, I think it's a dicey one, right? Because ideally, you want women to be cool, calm, and collected in presenting their case. You want them to pander to the expectations of society so that we can hear them out. But the reality is that hasn't always worked, right? That hasn't always worked. So I don't really fault women, like, for example, Senator Natasha, who wants to bring the house down for her voice to be heard. Because in reality, I'm not saying it's the only way to be heard, but time and history has proven that if you don't agitate, and I'm even talking about even we as men, right? The Biafra movement, for example, the apartheid movement, for example, even the Martin Luther King movement, none of those things yielded results until the complaints turned to pure agitation. When they were still speaking English, nobody was listening. So I think it's human nature that until we begin to display a very high level of, agitation, anger, zero restraint, that is when people now listen and say, okay, let's hear you out. I don't think that's the best way, but I think that sometimes the women have to do that for them to be heard. The other side of it is, and like I always say, this matter is a double-edged sword. I've also seen instances where women come off very confident, very assured in their accusations and in their allegations. And then because of how strong they are coming about the matter, people think, for this person to be this bold, they are saying the truth. And then they crucify the other person. And then after the other person has probably lost his job, lost everything, become, scrapped, the truth now comes out that it was all lies. We've seen that happen. And then the women always go scot-free. They always go scot-free. They don't get any repercussions for that action. The man is left
so
to pick
many
his life
men
up.
go scot-free. Even with blatant evidence.
The man is left
so
to pick
many
his life
men.
up.
In short, in
after
cases where there's
losing
blatant
all.
evidence, what we hear is a judge literally saying this
so hear
person
me out.
has
So hear me
a
out.
particular future. Let's not ruin it for the person. Let's just give this person probation
So hear
on
me
a
out.
proven sexual harassment
My
case. So
point remains
I
that-
feel like you're creating.
My point remains that
Let's not create
I'm not creating
certain
anything.
narrations
There
that
are
are
two
not.
sides. No. It's not that. It's a reality.
This is a five
There are
again.
two sides to the coin.
It is a
All I'm
5%.
saying is
It's
that
not.
they've got to be balanced. That's all.
What's
right?
the balance here?
There's got to be a balance. I agree.
Someone
that-
is currently
I agree.
being sexually harassed
I agree.
and is
that-
being bullied, which is something we see show
I
itself.
Agree, I agree that there needs to be a level of consideration when issues like this arise. I also agree that before we slam the hammer.
But they've slammed the hammer already.
Now,
The hammer has been
hear
slammed,
me out.
has it not?
Right, hear me out, right.
I'm kind of confused. Who
I'll
are we
give you an
speaking to
example.
right now?
I'll give you an example of what I'm trying to say. Senator Natasha, right? On this case, she's beaten a very strong bullet and she's left it all on the floor with her full chest that the Senate president has sexually harassed her, right? She's gone all the way to the International Parliamentary Union to also make the same claims. Mind you, some 4 years ago in 2021, just recently, former PDP presidential aide, Reno Mokri, came out and said the same Senator Natasha accused him of sexual harassment in 2021. And Reno Mokri said, at the time when the senator said or claimed that Reno Mokri, sexually harassed her, he was not even in the country. And he brought evidence and brought receipts to show that he was on diplomatic responsibility at that time. So unless he has a clone, how is it possible that he was harassing
There's also
at that time?
There's also a rumor that she has 5 kids for different men.
That's not even
That is part of the cyberbullying that the Senate aides are doing, which is why she had to go to court.
For me, I don't
So
know
let's
about
stop
all that.
laying
All I
some
know about
crazy
is
claims.
someone that
She
came
have 5
forward.
kids for different men.
I don't know.
Yeah, so there's
all I
also
know
that
is there's someone that came in front of the camera with
Yeah.
his full chest, recorded himself, and Remokri saying this. And then Remokri said at the time, he put out a post and said he will give $50,000 or $5,000 reward to anybody that can prove that he was in Nigeria. It was because the senator claimed the incident occurred at a particular conference. That if anybody can prove that he was in the country in that conference at that point in time, he will give the president $50,000. And that was where the whole accusation ended. In fact, at the point in time when he was ready to push the thing forward further, the senator started dodging. Right? So now that's an example for me, like, and I'll go back to what someone said. I don't know if it was you or Hannalyka that said, oh, the first thing the Senate president should do is step down because of the accusation and then they should investigate. That's part of going to extreme I'm talking about. At this point, he doesn't have to step down.
He has to. The reason
Because
why we
it's
say
still an
that
accusation.
you didn't get it.
What needs to be done?
The
What
organization
What
that
I
is going
disagree
to investigate
Wait,
him.
what I
He's
disagree with-
the one leading the
What?
organization.
He's not the one leading it.
He
That's what you
is.
know.
Whether we like it or not,
There
he is.
a
He's the Senate
ethics
president.
committee. No, listen. You're not listening. There
Which
is
is not biased. Which is very biased, right? And dependent on the Senate president.
There's an ethics committee that will recommend
That's true.
that he steps down.
That's very true. I forgot. The ethics committee that said it was dead on arrival. The ethics committee, who the leader was also disbarred as a lawyer
In
for
an
violation
ideal
of ethics
situation,
in a
there's
different
an
country.
ethics committee that is supposed to investigate the matter.
A system that is flawed is who we are trying to pass
So now we're talking about ideals.
Come on.
We're talking about what should have been the best case scenario.
Yeah. So
And we're trying to create balance.
Yeah.
Balance means the Senate president does not have to step down immediately because it's just an accusation.
Yeah.
The ethics committee, instead of throwing out that case because of technicalities, should have said, Madam, this is the best way to repackage
I understand
your
you.
petition.
I understand you.
Go, let me finish. Go back.
Yeah.
Repackage it. Send it back.
Yeah.
When you send it back, we will now do a proper investigation. If, as at when we are doing a proper investigation, we don't even need to have a full-on hard case evidence that is true. If there's any substantive evidence that shows that there's a likelihood that what you have said is true, that is when you can ask him to step down.
Again,
that's the balance we're
shall
talking
I ask
about.
you a question?
So
Shall I ask you? Shall I ask a question?
Yeah.
The current Nigerian Senate.
Yeah.
Do you agree that the Senate president has an influence over the ethics committee?
He does.
Well,
It's possible.
That's why he's the Senate president now.
He has an influence over the
Undue
ethics
influence,
committee,
which you shouldn't have. Yes.
which he shouldn't have.
Yes.
Typically,
But that's the way
if
is
it was a
politics
separate
all over
body
the world.
on its own, an external body,
Yeah.
right? I wouldn't say it is place to step down. The reason why I said he should step down in such an incident is because we know for a fact he has an influence. If the person that is being investigated, right, has an influence over the body that is doing the investigation, it's only ideal. I'm not saying he should be forced to step down. It's only ideal for the person to see that
the way
system and say, you know what,
So-
let me step down for it to look. Do you understand
So what
that
you're-
it's
If that's
appropriate?
the
Yes,
case,
so what you are
anybody can
saying-
just come forward and accuse the president and say,
No.
you know, you sexually harassed
Not
me.
anyone
Then
can.
he will say, that's what I'm saying.
not
Anybody in Senate
anyone-
can
No, no,
accuse
so
him.
what
Not
you are saying-
anyone
And then he will
can
just
go
step
and
down.
accuse
And then
someone.
they might need him to step down because there's another bill somewhere that somebody else wants to sponsor. The moment you come and knock accusation bill, Senate president step down. They not push that bill in the Senate.
what-
They not pass it. You
what I
give room for
believe-
serious
so what
political
I believe-
maneuvering when
so
you do
what I
things like
believe-
that. To be
Nah.
honest.
So what I
It
believe
wouldn't.
Laika is saying
It
is,
wouldn't.
what I believe you're saying is you are looking at things from a realistic standpoint. Not realistic standpoint. From a
Based on the reality of things.
on how things should be. Yeah. But the way things are is not the way you are looking at it. Because if we're working within a sane, society where everybody gets justice, for what they deserve, then that's what's going to happen. But if you are also now saying that the Senate guy should step down, you are giving the same judgment that you don't want given to Natasha, you're giving it to that guy.
Let me
That's
ask
what
you a
you're
question.
doing.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
The same Senate president was the one that did. In short, there's even allegations right now. There's even allegations right now that there was fraud around the way they suspended it. The signatures they submitted for the suspensions were actually signatures for the attendance of the Senate. So that one is even still being disputed on its own. What I'm saying is they have a system for voting, even when they were trying to do the suspension thing, which was even not right. I'm not even sure they said they had the hays or the nays. All they just was like, yeah, okay, that's great. She'll be suspended. The reason why I'm saying this is that is because he's in that position, right? He's enacting, he's giving a judgment, which can also constitute as continuous bullying, right? He should not be in that position any longer because he's also feeding into that narrative, which is why I'm saying, no one is saying there should be a law that he should step down. But ideally, in those situations, it makes sense for him to take a step back. No one is saying that he should the place should be vacant, but like take a step back in that situation.
That will be done.
That is the ideal thing to do.
So that will be done at his own discretion.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like I've said that 50 times.
Yeah, so I mean now he's not using that discretion. So let's
So that is what I'm saying. Like in situations where you feel and that is what I'm saying, that there are certain actions you do that tells on whether or not it's towards guilt or towards innocence, right? First of all, these allegations that you're mentioning, the same senator has also, there has been an allegation about sexual harassment against him some few years back. So it's not that it's new. Do you understand? There are even allegations of even the last year when it was something about him with having relations with young underage people. That one is also there.
Underage.
I mean, not under like young people, 17 young ladies. That's also there. That's even the reason why he had to come in and say that's why he had to come and apologize to Senator Natasha at that time when he was mentioning the whole nightclub situation, because he's trying to reduce the whole media dissing around it.
No, so you have to articulate what you're saying in a clear sense. When you say young people, 17 years old.
It's more like he's
rumor.
External whatever, young women. He has his whatever he needs.
People would say this.
What I'm saying is that he is saying. What I'm saying is that
he said so.
What I didn't say. I've not even finished my sentence.
No, you said what you're saying is that he's saying.
I was saying something else.
Okay,
yeah.
Let's hear you.
So what I'm saying is that in this situation, right, you have a Senate president, right? Normally, it does not make sense, as you mentioned, for anyone to just resign based on somebody else's allegation. But in a system here, where again, the ethics committee, the chairman has stood up and said is dead on arrival. The same chairman was disbarred in a different country based on bad ethics.
Is that confirmed though?
Yes.
Okay.
So with all of that, you still now have that same person. In short, that's what I'm trying to tell you is that the system is flawed. It's very flawed. It's not right in the first place. And we are saying, aside all of that, now, how do you think she's supposed to fight this whole thing? How do you think she's supposed to fight it? How do you think she's supposed to fight it?
I think we have done much on that. But for me, what I'm just
we have not said anything on that.
No, we have done much on that.
We keep saying that they are extremes. There's never an extreme.
Just hold on.
Let me tell you something.
Let me.
If I take it home to racism, right? And we're always shouting, "Oh my God, we're fighting for the rights of the black people." You know what? If we fight for the right too much of the black people, there will be a time when the black people will also start being racist to the white people. I'm like, first things first. That time is not even going to happen anytime soon. Even though there are areas where they are trying to shout for diversity, inclusion, and blah, blah, blah. There has never been an extreme. Even currently, for women in offices, every time, daily, even when we go out, women are sexually harassed. It has become a norm. Do you understand? A bad norm.
Go out in the office.
Out. Just on your daily, even the common man
But you said
who sexually harass you, number one. Secondly, in the office, women face sexual harassment and then retaliation. Most of the time, we are told to just wait it out. The retaliation, it's last, it go tire the person. Do you understand? They face that retaliation. Sometimes it's very hard for people to navigate it. Sometimes they just keep quiet and let it be. What I'm saying is, it's a norm, right? It's a system that even the one you are shouting, there can be I've not seen an extreme yet when it comes to women. In the corporate world, there hasn't been an extreme. What you are seeing are women that enter into these spaces and are trying to make more efforts to bring in more women into that society. That's why you are seeing women organizing International Women's Day events, organizing this, organizing that, right? We need men allies, but if you keep a straw man right here, you keep pointing out, let's not do this until it becomes an extreme. That false sense of fear that you are creating is what I'm saying. Do not put so much. I'm saying again, in this situation, it is not.
People's lives have been literally destroyed because of extremes. Benjamin Mendy used to be a Manchester City fullback. He was at the prime of his career. So much looking up for him. He gets accused of rape. He gets
the false accusations are below 5%. There are so many women's lives that has been ruined. So many women's lives that has been ruined. That are still yet to receive justice.
That's the one you know.
That is not the one we know. Statistics,
There's a guy on Twitter. I can't remember his name now.
For every one case you're going to call, like I can't tell you 100 cases of women that have not yet gotten justice.
There is one that happened in the.
Why are we creating a false sense of fear here?
What
I mean by that is, listen to me. You want to fly a plane. You want to fly a plane. Is it a fact? Is it a fact that an airplane is the safest?
I don't understand.
No, I'm serious because you guys are starting to create. No, this is the problem. I'm trying. One thing about this, to fight patriarchy, you need men allies, whether we like it or not. Right? But if the men allies are trying to listen,
so men should just flock at what everything feminists are asking for.
I did not say that. I just said a fact. I just said a fact.
Natasha,
we need men allies, but at the same time, I also want you to know that while you're doing your allyship or whatever it is, you also have to make sure, if I stand and tell you an airplane currently or a train is the safest mode of transportation, right? There is a percentage that train would get into an accident, but it still is the safest mode for transportation. Now, instead of me constantly now emphasizing, you want to keep emphasizing on that 2% of getting an accident.
You're the only one that came up with your 5% statistics. I don't agree to that. I'm sorry.
All right, sorry. Please go online.
But do you know something? Do you know the truth of the matter is that even as we're having this conversation here now, if what you are agitating for is to have a fair shake, a fair representation, do you know it's going to be difficult? because you have not allowed us now to have
you basically
this
bullied us.
conversation. Yeah, exactly. So I'm even scared that if I say something now online now, they will say, why are you not allowing her to talk and all? Do you get? And that's the reason why I've said, let's hear what Anna has got to say. But what I'm saying is that for every agitation that the women are making, of which you also made that, what's it called? You also made that allusion that, I don't know if it's allusion, but you made that backup comment that there is no way that you guys will win this conversation without including the men. This Natasha case now is because guys are also saying like, why is Akpabio, why is he just unreasonable? Why is he just a nuisance, in the house and stuff? Because men are also saying like, this is wrong and all. So I feel like
I'm sure it's not because you just don't like Akpabio in the first instance.
No, but I mean, I don't like anybody.
I
in
mean,
the Senate.
If it was a guy that looked somewhat or sounded somewhat like, definitely nobody's gonna be listening. No. But some people already have politically they don't like Akpabio. So once they hear it, they're already
what do the average man know about Akpabio?
Exactly.
What dealings do they have with him? What is wrong is wrong. It's what
you literally just called him. You gave a description of him as wiki.
No.
Why go to why are you making that statement? So you know that it's beyond whatever this issue is. I'm sorry.
No. It's not.
Please,
it's not because
your notion of him is beyond. Anyway, when you keep saying that, oh no, I'm not giving you guys space. Hope you know that I gave you guys space when we were talking about femicide, right? And guess what? We are still in that situation where you don't even believe femicide is an issue. Yeah. Do you understand? At this point in time, I cannot have a sense of reasonable dialogue if I see that somebody at this point is telling me femicide is negligent or is not occurring in Nigeria. That's the reason why I feel like I can't let you keep on making some statements to me that I don't have to immediately rebut. Because if you decide to sit down and make it as civilized as possible, you keep on throwing so much blatant heresies. And I can't stand for it any longer. This situation, the patriarchy you're talking about, we are not taking gender-based violence seriously in Nigeria. Laws are not protecting women in Nigeria. So many education and awareness is negligible in Nigeria. A lot of women are pushing to educate, and the fact that they could even still do this whole nonsense in Women's Month. And I think Akpabio made some sort of comments about this whole thing around Women's Day.
I'll just say the way they handled that was embarrassing. It was below the belt. To be honest, the Senate and all of those guys involved. If I saw on International Wednesday, they do one big poster. They now put Akpabio's face there. They now wrote something for the women, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, can't we even put some effort to whitewashing this nonsense properly? This is embarrassing, really.
Yes,
and it's a mockery to everything that we are standing for in terms of defending women's rights and all that stuff.
So for me, I just feel like I stand by that femicide stuff anyway. I mean, what I said.
That femicide is not a thing in Nigeria.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
I disagree with you on that one.
I stand by it.
No, that's fair.
But let's not go there. Let's continue with what's it called. I feel like there is a lot that needs to be done, but there is no way. I mean, anything meaningful is going to be achieved if we don't join forces. It's not the you can't carry me along, already accusing me that I'm going to be biased, and all. That's not the way to carry people along. I have to be able to reason, beyond doubt that you are making your presentation in a way that is making me to understand your plight. I'm not going to, and I think that's also part of the reason why Chimamanda Adichie distanced herself from the type of feminism that we practice in Nigeria, and it's that when you are, when you are trying to agitate, when you are trying to make your case known, there is also the thin line, of not being entirely extreme, just because you want to. And also, like you said, there is also that part where lives might be ruined, on the basis of allegation that is not, that has not been proven beyond reasonable doubt that that's actually what happened.
Yeah.
I saw one video on X. The woman actually posted a text, it was in the US, posted a text that the guy that he was, that is dating was texting her daughter, I don't know if you saw it.
I saw it.
Was texting her daughter and she posted everything online.
Yeah.
Posted the guy's picture too.
Yeah, I saw that.
Only for them to realize that this lady has actually done it to another guy before. You
It's a
get
lie.
exactly. Only for them. And so the people that knew what she did before, they now put supporting, text and stuff. They put it there like this lady has done it
I've
before
done it to someone else.
and all. Do you get? So
That's crazy.
there is that thin line, of trying to believe what is happening with, the feminists, and also not going to the extreme to just destroy people's lives and all.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that's the way. I would look at.
Again, with your false sense of fear. May I remind you that I don't need an hour to tell you why women should have equal rights to vote. I don't need an hour to tell you why women should be investigated. Hello.
Are women
I know this lady from Akpoti had to fight. So please, let's not think as if they just gave us the platter of, we were given the right to vote on a platter of gold. Okay, we had to fight for it. What I'm just trying to tell you is that I don't need to sit down to have a full-on dialogue with you, to sit down and arrange my words for me to let you know how important it is for sexual harassment to be stopped, for men to know how to caution their mouths. Do you understand? For men not to I don't understand.
No one,
like
it's
not
getting
confusing.
the point,
I
right?
get what you're saying. All right.
But
What I'm trying to tell you is that we should not even be having these conversations. Men should know better. Unfortunately, they don't. Do you understand? Unfortunately, they don't.
Okay.
But we're in a situation where, and we're in a situation where people are not doing the right thing. And you want us to explain to you why or how you should do the right thing.
Because everything
It's
that you
bullshit.
are saying, because everything that
That
you
is
are
why I
saying,
say you need
no,
to fight.
the way
You
you are
need to
talking-
see an angry woman
the way
before
you
you
are-
understand.
the way you are
and
talking,
you need.
No, the way you are talking as if we don't understand what you're saying. You are talking as if we are not reasoning with you.
I'm talking about your point of us having to have to.
No, but I'm telling you
or
the truth.
explain it
I'm telling you
properly.
the truth. If this thing happens,
Which is why I'm still rebutting
telling
your
you-
statement.
no, I'm telling you the-
You should not keep giving
Hold on
ammunition
now,
to
hold
these
on now.
people.
No, I'm not giving
Simple.
ammunition to anybody. What I'm saying is that if this thing happens in the Senate, and you have all these guys that their life is patriarchy, they don't even give two craps about what the female wants to do and all and everything. There is a way that you make your presentation.
No.
Let her burn
Hold
it
on,
down.
hold on. Let me finish.
Burn
Can I
the
finish?
place
No.
down.
Let me finish.
With
Yeah.
her fight.
Let me finish.
Then they will listen to
Now,
her.
the way you make your what's it called? Your agitation. You want to have a fair shake at the table and all. The way you make your
At this point, I might not even want to have a fair shake. I might want to have the table.
No, go on. Let me hear you. Because
we'll
fresh, let me tell you what I think about that. Right?
The reason why I said,
Yeah.
because of which, like I said, I always like, to have a constructive, conversation. We can shout over ourselves from now till tomorrow. You will feel, superior, like, oh yeah, I've given my own argument, and all. That's not the way to, to have a constructive
that's what
conversation.
I'm trying to say. That
What I'm saying is,
you
hold
that
on,
keep
hold
saying
on.
this constructive.
Let me finish.
Was
Let
the
me finish. Can I
discussion of
finish?
femicide not constructive?
Can I finish?
At the end of the day, didn't you still come here to take the
No.
notion that femicide is still negligent? That's why statistics.
Excuse me. You are.
I'm sorry.
You are completely misquoting what I said.
Oh, really?
Completely out of line. You are
Okay.
misquoting what I said. What I said was that when I said feminism was not a thing,
Feminist.
what I'm saying is,
femicide.
I said femicide rather. Femicide was not a thing in Nigeria. Was that, and I gave examples of what I meant by that. That have you heard anybody on your streets saying that there was some lady that they wanted to go and molest or kill or what have you and all. Femicide is actually killing women. That's what it means.
Right, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
God.
Have you ever met anyone that has HIV before?
That has HIV.
Have you personally
Yeah.
met someone? You met someone that has HIV?
Yeah.
How many times? Okay, one.
I don't know. Maybe like
One.
two, three.
Two.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, have you ever met anyone with HIV before?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't. I wanted to do a simple test, right?
Yeah.
Based on what you said,
Yeah.
which is if you walk down the street,
Yeah.
if you have ever asked or
Yeah.
heard
Yeah.
or something happened, with HIV, I haven't met anyone with HIV
Yeah.
before, right? So, I could think that it's not really a thing.
Yeah.
because I haven't personally
Yeah.
met anyone, but it is a thing. Like
Yeah.
there are a lot of people that have it, right?
Yeah.
But you've met,
Yeah.
so it means it's probably a thing.
Yeah.
I personally haven't met anyone that killed a woman before,
Yeah.
or known anyone
Yeah.
that killed a woman before. Have you?
Yeah.
Have you?
No, I've not.
Do you know anyone? Have you
No.
personally?
Yeah. So
Okay. So
yeah,
I'm just trying to
so,
justify what his position is.
Yeah.
I'm like,
So
okay.
what? So if you now say that, like, okay, femicide is I said femicide is not a thing in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
What I meant is that it is not prevalent. It's not something that, I mean, they kill people. I've forgotten what country. Like they kill people. I mean, forgotten where I saw the clip and all. It was like nothing nature. Like, you know, let's just move on and stuff and all. Now we're talking about Natasha. All of us are saying what Akpabio has done is wrong.
No, not all of us.
A majority of
on the
people
show,
that I
that's what
know,
we're saying on the
majority
show,
of people that I know are saying that what Akpabio has done is wrong.
It's wrong.
Mm.
The only people that I know that are saying that what Akpabio has done is not wrong are in the Senate.
Really?
Majority of the people that I know, what they are saying is that what Akpabio has done is completely wrong
Yeah.
and is out of order.
I agree with that.
and all of them in the Senate.
Go and check the
So
comment
for me, I
section
don't. You said
of
what?
news. Go and check the comment section of news.
Well,
Where?
to be fair, if you go on
Covering
X,
this.
some people X is a very funny place. Some people have some funny comments about the matter.
Yeah,
They're
but-
blaming her.
Yeah, but blaming her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw some people blaming
Some people
her.
are blaming her.
But for me, I'm saying the much people that I know, and I can categorically say like 99.9% of people around me that I'm connected to will not, support what they are doing to the woman and all. And it's also a matter of what type of network that you have around you and all, and what are the ideals, you know, that you believe in and all, that you want to pursue and all. So let's leave this this thing about I'm not here to say maybe women are not slighted or maybe women are not being treated, you know, maltreated, you know, in one way or the other. And I also said on that day that is a two-way street. Women also they constitute violence as well too. You know, and all. So let's leave. I mean, we're not trying to win any argument. If we're trying to win argument here, then we're not going to have a constructive conversation. What we're trying to look for is, where is the middle? The middle is what we are looking for.
Balance.
If your own argument is so, LA's argument is so, my argument is so, where is the middle ground? That is where consensus, that is what is called consensus. It is not like my voice is going to be the loudest. No, that's not the way we have constructive conversation. And that's what I've always been saying and all. So if we're looking at that, this Akpabio's case and all, I said it from the beginning. It's not because I know Akpabio, I don't know him. I've always seen him as a nuisance, and I've always seen him as somebody that is not representing his people. He went to their stadium at Akwa-Ibom. I don't know if it was Akwa-Ibom and stuff and all, that people were kind of, you know, they filled up the stadium and stuff. And I was like, I mean, these ones are bought and paid for. You also know that this Natasha's case, there were some women that were protesting, that they were saying that Akpabio should not go, that there is a lie and stuff and all.
Yes.
Do you get? So there's a lot that there's a lot of ways we can dissect this thing and all. But for me, I'm not looking at.
But let me just really
that-
say something about what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of the few things where I probably agree with Hannalyka on is this constructive argument you're talking about, right? It makes sense to say, let's have a constructive conversation when we want to come up with a solution to the problem. But when there's an incident that has happened and a woman needs to push through a claim, I'm sorry, I don't think that being calm and presenting your case like a barrister is going to necessarily give you any outcomes. And I give an example why I said so. And I'm sorry to bring it up because I'm sure it's a very painful memory for this person. Tim Dakolo's wife, right? Tim Dakolo's wife, Busola. Yeah. A couple of years ago, she came forward and she made some startling, I don't know what to call it, accusation or allegations against a popular pastor. Exactly. Yeah. Right. And said, this guy molested me for so and so period in the past. Now, you remember, if you remember clearly that period, the entire polity and country went ablaze. Right? Because the way she brought her case up, first of all, Busola has been known to be is it Busola or Bukola? I don't know now. Mrs. Dakolo is known to be very quiet, you know, temperate, soft-spoken woman, doesn't like drama, right? Very peaceful. So when she came up with her story and she narrated it, she was able to draw a lot of public sympathy, right, from people. Because again, she brought it out in a very sane, quiet, calm manner. And there was outrage. But did she get justice? No. What she got in return was they did a whitewash of the issue. Asked the pastor to step down for like 1 week or 2 weeks. You know, a couple of people were going to the premises of the church shouting, Biodun must go, Biodun must go. After 2 weeks, the bros went back to church, gave one very watery statement, and then they continued life as usual. The case that they were trying to institute in the courts, or the petition that was written in the case, died off. We don't see what happened. Life went on as usual. It was like I said, the woman just came out, revealed a very sensitive part of her past that probably gives her trauma, and then in the vulnerability of trying to find justice, all it became was a public spectacle with no results. So, you will permit me, if I agree, that what Hannalyka is saying in terms of maybe bringing the house down, being very vociferous, and that's why I have no problems with how Senator Natasha is going about trying to get, what she calls justice. I have no problem with it. Bring the house down, because even if you say you want to sit down and be soft-spoken and bring one very nice monologue of what happened, it still doesn't guarantee that you get a fair hearing.
No, but this thing that you said now, there is no pushback against what you said. And everybody was following up on what Natasha did in the Senate when they were having their session and all. I don't think there was anything wrong in that. What I'm saying is that by the time everybody comes to the table to look at what has transpired and stuff and all, how are people going to hear you if at every point in time it's always like at the top
busting.
of do you get? That's what I'm saying. What she did at the Senate, it was people saw. At some point you have to agitate. Like, why are you stifling me? Why are you trying to shut me down? I know I'm representing my constituents and all and everything, and I have every right to talk.
Yeah.
Do you get? So I don't have any issue with that. But when they bring them on the table to say, okay, let's hire on this now.
Yeah, fine.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's where that is what
she
I'm
was
looking
at
at.
the United Nations. Was she agitated? No, she wasn't. She
Because
presented
you
her
would
case.
see people that would reason
That would
with
listen
her.
with her.
Exactly.
That's the
She
point.
presented her
Yeah,
case.
that's what I'm
So
saying.
you have to sit down with people who are ready to reason.
You
But
still have
if you are
fight.
doing that in Nigeria, that's what I'm saying. If you are doing, you see, there is even the worst of kings, there is a way that you can, get whatever you want to get from them.
As long as they see you as a fellow human being.
No, but
You're definitely not going to have a dialogue with a pig if you see a pig as it is.
yeah, but
What we are saying is the same way it went with racism. They didn't see black people as humans, so they didn't even see they should be brought to dialogue in the first place.
Yeah,
so that's why I'm saying we still need to pull the bull by the horn,
but
then we should also limit
but I hear what
our
Reshi
sense
say, I hear what
of
Reshi
false.
say.
look at
The agitation is necessary to get them to call you to the table.
Yeah, but look at.
But when they call you to the table, tact needs to take over.
Exactly. Look at what Martin Luther said. You talk about racism. Martin Luther fought the most brutal regime.
Yeah.
Fought it with, composure, decorum. When he is making speech, he's not making speech. We're going to come at you. We're going to come and kill you too. No. That's why, what's it called? This guy in South Africa.
Mandela.
The way it's going. No,
Okay.
not Mandela. This guy was the one.
I can't remember him. Yeah.
I know. The way he's going about his agitation, I don't like it.
Yeah, no, it's too aggressive.
You cannot kill your way.
Again,
you cannot kill your way to
what is
reason.
my agitation?
You cannot.
I am agitated because when you are sitting down to dialogue, as you mentioned, you are taking us back by creating a sense of false fear. That is what I am saying.
No, I don't agree to that.
I didn't say.
Can I explain?
Yeah.
No, I don't agree to that.
Now, in the situation here, we understand that there is an epidemic. We understand that there's a situation that keeps on getting worse, because even if the women in power are subjugated to such and such types of actions, we, the male masses that are women, we have a lot more to face. Now, that being said, you want to have dialogue on the issue. Let's have dialogue on the issue of bringing women's rights into discussion. But while we are having that dialogue, if we sat down and said, this is the agenda for us to discuss, then at the bottom, we are talking about extremes. Again, that extreme is still, what will I call it? It hasn't happened. Number one. Number two, it is still something, for it to be an extreme, it means that the right has fully been tilted towards women, which we are even far off from getting to a middle ground. But we keep hammering on, let there not be an extreme, let there not be an extreme, let there not be an extreme. No one says that what you are stating is not something that can happen. But I'm saying that when you hammer on those things, or when you bring those things into consideration a lot, that is that is one of those things that you will see even the patriarchal man use as an excuse. They grab on that. Do you understand? They will use it as an excuse. That false sense of, what if a woman now becomes, the woman society becomes, women are now the majority of, those are what is in the back of their head that creates that fear. So because of that, let's not give them an inch. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get what
so
you're
when
saying.
You keep on with that statement, you might see it as I'm reasonable, right? So I believe it's until the scales tilt before such an incident will occur. But that becomes an excuse that men grab on. The patriarchal man grabs on.
I hear
so
you.
What I'm saying
on
again,
that, but
disadvantages are
what you are saying
eminent.
is let's not even bring it up at all.
No, what
I
I'm
don't
saying
agree
is
with
that
that.
at the
I don't
point,
agree with
listen,
that.
there are stations when you bring up those concerns. This is not the time.
Nobody said it's the
Simple.
time. What
It
we
is
said
not
is
but we literally are
there has to
discussing
be
an
a
harassment
balance.
issue,
There's
and we
got
are hammering
to be-
on
No,
the balance.
remember,
I was
the reason
discussing
why that
femicide,
came
and
up-
the statement is, men
reason-
also do it, women
the
also
reason why
do
that
it.
came up was
That is not now.
you
That
made a
is not the
statement
conversation.
that the Senate president should first have stepped down.
Yeah.
That was what brought about the need for balance. If you recall, yes, it's based on what you said. And
Again,
I said,
this is a peculiar case, and I
president
explained
to just step
why
down
I
because
said
of
it
an
should step down.
allegation
because he
is
has
a
influence.
bit of an extreme.
Yeah.
Again,
Because if that's the case,
but
and
your
imagine,
extreme, the
let's
discussion about
assume
that-
we are parliamentarians now, and the three of us have the ability to pass a law. And we say because of the heat of the moment and how we are feeling, we pass a law to say the moment there's an accusation,
Somebody should
just step down first.
Again, you
Step down
brought up,
first.
listen, I mentioned to you
Imagine
why
what
it is not
you are
something
creating.
that we are
That's
demanding.
That's a loophole.
We are not demanding.
Yeah, that's a
Listen.
loophole that can create chaos.
We are not demanding.
So I'm saying
As this
balance.
conversation.
You
That's
did have a
all.
conversation about talking
Balance.
about DEI being an extreme in the society, this and that. So that is where I started interjecting on you guys. Do you
DEI.
understand? When you talk about, women are now, there's even the extreme, some private sectors are taking it to the extreme. That is when you would realize that I started attacking. Do you understand? So what I'm trying to tell you is that, yes, you can lay claim, but there are times for certain discussion. This is not it. This is not even something you bring up, because what a patriarchal man will hear is only that. Do you understand? So you are giving them more ammunition.
What we are saying is, on this incident, the ethics committee did not do the right thing by throwing out the petition and saying it is dead on arrival, simply because the senator was the one that signed a petition. For me, it looks like they were looking for an excuse not to hear out.
Yeah.
All we've said is the right thing to do was to send back the petition to the lady, ask her to file it the right way.
The right way.
If to meet the law, if it means begging the other female senators to sign for her, I'm sure they can sign for her. And then she can represent it. And then the committee will do their job. Now, there's also the problem of, like she said, influence, undue influence. The Senate president, we all know the way the Nigerian Senate is now. It's a rubber stamp Senate. Nobody is challenging anybody. There's no position. The moment the senator just says A, everybody follows. I said from Ali in Dume that fights every once in a while for his own selfish interest. Anyways, they've cut his wings. So it's a difficult. That Senate is a cult whereby there's every reason to believe that the Senate president can influence the ethics committee, and that's why I say I don't have a problem with her going to the United Nations to cry out, right? All I'm saying is, in seeking justice, let's try and find a balance.
Yeah.
Right? And find a balance means you consider the extremes of both ends.
Yeah.
And you come up with a solution that mitigates those extremes.
And I also think that that's a very balanced way, to address situations when you're addressing situations. Because you look at worst case scenario.
Yeah.
What could have happened,
Yeah.
or what could happen, and all if we don't dot all our I's and
Cross
T's
the
and
T's,
stuff.
exactly.
You
Yeah.
get? So for me, I
Okay,
really
in this
don't
case,
think,
where the Senate president did not resign or did not step back or whatever the case may be, or did not even create some sort of Chinese wall as they do is in companies, right? You don't need to leave the company. All you just need to do is make sure there's confidentiality and whatever, and the institution is standing on its own without due diligence.
So we have to
undue
rely on
influence.
the
So I'm
courts.
saying that.
We have to rely on the
But that's
courts.
not the case. It's
to
not
do the
even in
right thing.
courts.
And she should put it in courts.
yeah, they should take it
Oh,
to
no,
court.
be-
You know, but so
I mean, she
so-
used the courts to
so-
reclaim her mandate, didn't
yeah,
she?
yeah.
So
So-
she has to believe that the courts can do
So
something
me,
about it.
I would also look at it as we round up. I would also look at it from this way. I feel like it is not just about the women, that we're experiencing whatever we're experiencing right now with Natasha.
What
It
do you
is
mean?
a case of, let me land. It is a case of a society that doesn't follow the rule of law.
Yeah.
We don't follow the rule of law. Even the women are guilty of it. You talked about Ireti, that he's a senator from FCT, and a couple of the senators. That one is supposed to even be from Labour Party.
Yeah.
Be from Labour Party. The Labour Party, the almighty Labour Party.
Yeah.
That was
The
supposed to come and
opposition.
save us. That was supposed to come and save us from
The
the clause of
opposition.
PDP and APC.
Yeah.
She said she can't afford to say too much because she has her
She's
issues
fighting about
with Wike in FCT.
Yeah.
So we are operating in a society that doesn't uphold the rule of law, and I think it goes both ways. So
You mentioned the
Wow.
rating. What were you trying to?
is that what?
You mentioned we're not operating the rule of law. Then you mentioned the rating. What was the?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I'm saying what I'm
You
saying
should
is
do
that
something.
what I'm saying is that Ireti is also a woman that is supposed to understand what is at stake.
Mm.
For her to jump in the heat of the fight and follow through and
Yeah.
saying we're not going to accept, she backed out. And I'm saying that it's a corrupt system that gives room for such. In for instance, in in China, do you know the reason why they are they are the level that they are at? If you are caught to have done anything, they will just kill you. There is no ifs and buts. They will just kill you straight. There's no let's go and look at it that have they will kill you. So once you
I'm
know
sorry.
that,
Let's not make claims that
No,
are unfounded.
I'm telling you what is
this
the
is
case.
sentence
That is the
into
case. That is the case.
Once
If
you
you
are
are found
convicted,
to have
embezzlement
done
is still
anything,
embezzlement.
once you are found to have done anything
Sentence to
that
death.
goes against the government, they are going to kill you, and they will say it's a communist.
But
we
against
say
the
we are
government.
operating democracy. No, but we say we are operating democracy. So it is we can't really compare. But what I'm saying is that I don't dare. So what I'm saying is that if it was a society that is sane, if it was a society that, and we can't even keep saying, look at this young girl, that the NYSC girl, that was complaining about what is going on in Nigeria and stuff and all.
Yeah.
They were, the NYSC
Whether not the
workers, I
LGU,
don't even
everything
know,
they
yeah.
call them.
They said Etios or what have you and all. They
Yeah.
are calling her to go and pull stuff down and all. It's everything is still coming back to society. And I feel like, for me, if we are going to make anything out of Nigeria, it is going to be the youth that would say, okay, going forward, and I keep saying this thing, people think, okay, I'm joking. I'm telling you, like, if you want to make a great nation, it starts from now that you are seeing all this nonsense, all these idiots. Sorry to say, because I'm really agitated too, because if you look at, what is going on with this lady, it's something that should just be easy peasy. Like, okay, we can't accept this. Akpabio, please, like she said, please step down. We're going to, look at, what's it called? The way this thing has gone, and then we're going to prefer the best solution for all that stuff.
Give time frame.
Yeah.
Even if
give
it's
time
like
frame.
2 weeks.
Exactly.
2 weeks. First chill somewhere. Let's do some preliminary investigation.
But this is what is happening. This is the society that we find ourselves. How are we going to make it better? We can't just keep getting on each other's throats, thinking like nobody is the problem here.
Yeah.
Do you get? If I see anybody do anything to you now, we're going to bring the smoke. Like what nonsense and stuff. Do you get? So there is no. We're not talking about us here. We're talking about a society that is bad, a society that is that is so messed up that needs saving. And I think that the youth needs to sit and now that they're talking about the next election, next cycle of election, I think everybody should use this one too as like a what's it called? Their vision call and saying stuff like this won't allow it to happen. And that's the reason why we're going to look for a way to elect the person that will represent us and will represent our values and stuff and all. Yeah. It does not happen by we cannot wish it away. If we don't do it, Nigeria will keep having another Tinubu. We'll keep having another Akpabio. There's nothing that will happen. That is just the reality. That's the truth of the matter. That's the reality of the matter and stuff and all.
Yeah.
You get? So for me, that's the way I'll look at it. So I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts.
Yeah, I think on the Senator Natasha issue, right? I mean, she has my full support, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this ends up. I think what's more important is the truth coming out, and nothing but the truth, and that true justice is meted out. What caused all of this issue? The lady has been pushing for the Ajaokuta steel industry to be revitalized. In fact, I think that's the one thing that's been on her mind coming to the Senate. And she said ever since they resumed the Senate, they haven't given her the chance to present that case, to the legislative floor. I think she's passionate about trying to make a change. I would love for us to have a Senate that allows her to actually give her best. Yes, give her best to her people, right? And stop trying to silence her. But I do think that, again, I'm a bit conscious of the mockery, who also came out and said, this lady has accused me in the past falsely. So at the back of my mind, even as I'm drumming up support for her, I'm also a little bit hopeful that this isn't just another charade, and that it turns out that there's no substance to it, because that would be so disappointing, right? If we try to, mobilize ourselves for us to get justice, and then we find out that it's just a mere accusation. That's going to be a major, major dent into this battle that we're fighting for the women. And
that's a very risky one that you said, really. And if we can also look at some of the trail of some women that has represented in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. They've not really done so well. I'm talking of public space stuff and all. And that also further goes to show, like, it's not a thing of men or women.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing of, what are the ideals of our society? And if we don't get it, I think we're going to keep going around the circle, really. I don't know if Anna has a final thought.
Party words.
Sorry. I would say that maybe to enlighten people in societies, I feel like I hear this a lot, and I feel like a lot of people don't know how these things work. A woman is facing sexual harassment at a workplace. After that, and maybe she decides to, turn it down, be nice about it, blah, 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 trying to preserve her job. Thereafter, the next thing that occurs is retaliation, bullying, victimization, intimidation, all sorts of these things. And after the fact, the next thing that starts off is maybe the person takes it, hoping that it stops. Then thereafter, unfortunately, it doesn't. And because of that, the person has to move on and maybe decide to, get angered all of a sudden because of the constant listening. Now, in this case, as I just feel like I need to just explain it to some certain people. The situation here, you might think that maybe, some people are saying that, she must have done wrong. She shouldn't have acted that way. I just want those people to realize that most times it is not about that particular situation. Some people can lash out on a completely different issue, right? Let's say, for instance, there was a time when someone did something to me and the person just kept on doing that same thing. Unfortunately for me, I was angry at that person. But after a while, there was I wasn't like, I was trying to be as professional with that person and all. But there was an incident that occurred that was unrelated. It was just a regular incident and I just lashed out. Do you understand? I wasn't lashing out based on that particular situation alone. But because there has been a constant distance, that I've been facing. And because of that, you might now see it as an overreaction if you looked at it holistically, like, okay, why is this person overreacting? but there are underlying causes to that reaction, right? And in this case, you might also say and be like, but you hear her making statements like, I'm not scared of you and everything like that. When people hear that statement, even before she came out to give the allegations and all, you're like, okay, something is definitely wrong here. At least for some women that are enlightened, they know that, okay, this feels like it's beyond. And you also understand that people that are in positions of power, you have no business being in a compromising situation or even making such advances. You might think it's light-hearted, but it is not. Do you understand? So people need to understand the power they hold. They need to bridle their tongue. They need to learn what it is to be civilized and stop this normalizing sexual harassment and retaliation. We even get that even on the roadside. Immediately someone asks you or say something and you turn them down, the next thing they start insulting you. That is immediate local interaction.
They do that a lot in the market.
And yes.
They're dragging you.
Or if it even happens, someone will hold you and then the next thing you hear, hey, you're even lucky self. Say you fine. Or don't even hang out the person so the person doesn't beat you. They normalize these things, and this is society we are living in, and it's starting to really be too much. Let's stop normalizing this. Let's curb this thing at a situation where, because at this point here, when you're looking at this Natasha situation, I don't know if we even have hope for women, and that is why I feel like this is no longer the time to be calm. This is the time to actually be agitated. Okay, so I hope I really hope for her. I fully support Natasha. I really hope this justice, the sense of justice occurs, even though it's somewhat impossible in the Nigerian system.
Yeah, justice. I'm hoping that, just like we've all said, I'm hoping that justice happens, but in the real sense of justice, where there is no innocent and then guilty, and then guilty and then proven innocent. We want the guilty to actually face the full wrath of the law, and then they be removed from Senate. I'm hoping that they can remove Akpoti. That's my hope. But for other varied reasons and stuff.
And you tell me he does not have his own personal distance aside this Natasha issue.
No, well, but yeah. I mean, I'm just joking now, but I know how bad, the Senate, and our elected officials have been performing. And I wish that they can come to their senses, but that's a long shot, really. But thank you guys for coming, and thank you for, that's just the way, I think I've come to conclude now that that's just the style that we go with. When Laika is on set, we go hard at it. We go hard at it, but it's all, it's all in good, I feel like
I didn't even say 5% of what I have in my mind.
I wish
because I feel like 2 hours will not be enough to dissect the situation from beginning to end and to speak on the issues that are currently plaguing this country we call Nigeria. The system is rigged.
Yeah.
The system is rigged for us.
I wish we can have all the time. That's all we've got, for this session at the junction. We're going to see you on the flip side where we'll have another go at it. Stay blessed and have a very, very pleasant rest of your week. Bye.
Bye.